This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial endowment expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on October 30th, 2015. Our time is 8:42 Mountain. Our radio show runs on your favorite radio stations, 630 CHED in Edmonton, Sunday afternoon at 3. We are on early today prior to the Eskimo pregame show. Eskimos playing Montreal in their final regular season game. They have a bye for the last week, and then the playoffs. Can't forget about Halloween. Hopefully everyone had a safe Halloween, and the time change earlier this morning as well. Hopefully you're adjusting to that okay. Don't forget, if you ever miss a radio show, the shows are archived on Harold's two websites, HESradio.com and rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report on Radio. You'll find us there. We go on your portable device anywhere you do. Our featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com is a 1.90 carat emerald cut fancy vivid yellow internally flawless. Take a look at this diamond at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Featured diamond of the week. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, or speak personally and privately with Harold at 1-800-432-1022. Before we get to Harold's commentary, some of the things that happened this week in the news. In the United States, the Fed met. They kept interest rates where they are. They're hinting now maybe a rate rise in December. We will see. Also in the United States, they were worried about a debt default. They've gotten it together, put together a 2-year deal. Looks like they could raise the debt ceiling to $20 trillion. Wow. Unbelievable. Also this week, and a lot of this is in our free weekly newsletter. Get our free weekly newsletter from Harold, 1-800-432-1022 or rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Goldman Sachs says the U.S. dollar may rise to parity with the euro by the end of the year. Also coming out, U.S. companies warn that a recession is coming. Our data is not good. There's a panic. Over half of European 2-year bonds are trading at record negative yields. In fact, Italy is being paid to issue debt. That's right. They're issuing bonds with a negative yield. As a result, they're being paid, if you can believe it. Also, in the crude market, there's getting to be a tipping point. China is running out of space to store oil. And one of the other stories that I think is very, very important regarding oil, and everyone should be very aware of this, the world's largest oil producer could be broke in 5 years. The Middle East's biggest economy, Saudi Arabia, could burn through its financial assets within 5 years amid a drop in oil prices. Some of the other stories that we were following this week. Norway's sovereign wealth fund posted its biggest loss in 4 years, dropping 4.9% in the third quarter. The $860 billion fund, which is mandated to hold about 60% of its assets in stocks, took a major hit in the third quarter. And they were not alone. In fact, it continued. It went on to fund companies. Fund companies like BlackRock, T. Rowe Price, Franklin Templeton in the United States, they lost $700 billion in a particularly brutal third quarter. Hedge fund assets took a major plunge. In fact, the biggest since 2008. The hedge funds, they suffered $95 billion in losses. So it was a very, very tough third quarter for those in the stock market game. Also, in Iceland, the 26th banker has been sent to jail for the 2008 financial crisis. In the United States, or even in Canada, has anyone gone to jail? Nobody. But in Iceland, the 26th banker has gone to jail. 1 in 2 workers in the United States makes less than $30,000 a year. And We're taping the show on a Friday. World Series continues between the Royals and Mets. For a ticket to the game, two season tickets, $17,553. $17,553 for two tickets to the game. Those would be obviously somebody buying them who had season tickets and selling them. Unbelievable. But there was one thing that happened this week, Harold, that was really astounding to me. In fact, it was something that was really stunning. Jonathan Johnson, chairman of online retailer Overstock.com, gave a speech, and he said, "We are not big fans of Wall Street, and we don't trust them. We foresaw the financial crisis. We fought against the financial crisis that happened in 2008. We don't trust the banks still, and we foresee that with QE3 and 4 and maybe more at some point, there's going to be another significant financial crisis." And he went on to say, now remember, this is a publicly traded company in the United States. So what do you do as a business if you're going to prepare for what happens in the future when you have obviously a very concerning point of view? One thing that we do, and it's fairly unique, we have about 10 million in gold, mostly the small button-sized coins that we keep outside the banking system. We expect that when there's a financial crisis, there will be a banking holiday. I don't know if it will be in 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months. We have 10 million in gold and silver in denomination small enough that we can make our payroll. We want to be able to keep our employees paid, safe, and our site up and running during a financial crisis. We also happen to have 3 months of food supply for every employee and a significant other that we can live on. That is Jonathan Johnson, chairman of online retailer Overstock.com. Isn't that stunning, Harold? A company like that putting aside hard assets because they're concerned about another financial meltdown and even having food saved. It really says a lot about the times that we're living in.
It certainly does. That is very unusual for a company to come out and say something like that. And, you know, they're large companies, so all of their, or a major part of their employees must be buying into the same philosophy type of thing. But, you know, there's no doubt about it. There is a lot of danger out in the markets, and we saw it this week. You know, gold got up to 1180 again. There's that important number, 1180, and that happened on Tuesday. And now on Friday, as we're taping the show, the market's down to 1139. So we saw about a $40 drop off in 3 days in the gold market. Silver similar. Silver's down to 1565. And the currency markets are the major cause for it. Because even with a little bit of profit taking so far today on Friday in the U.S. dollar is still trading and traded this week above the 96-cent level, actually went into 97.5 cents, and right now we're trading at 96.72. So I've been saying all along that there's no doubt in my mind that the U.S. dollar is not only going to go to parity, and now who is it that came out and said the same thing this week, but the fact is that once it breaks the par level, there is these massive buy orders above par in the U.S. dollar that I believe will take the U.S. dollar immediately to 101, 102, but it could easily go to 108 to 109. So again, in regards to how that's going to affect the Canadian dollar, this week the Canadian dollar was down substantially and still is. However, if oil prices drop, which I believe it will because of massive amounts of supplies on the sidelines type of thing, I see the Canadian dollar going down to 60 cents, and I see the U.S. dollar going to 107 to 109. There's a huge spread, and there's a lot of money to be made if you know what you're doing. So if you're not making money in the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar spread, and you don't have any investments that are going to help you in that area, you need to call me. I'll sit down and explain to you how you can make a lot of money converting Canadian to American. Now, I know that some people are sitting back and going, I'm not going to convert Canadian and pay 30% more to get U.S. dollars. Well, you can either do it now or you could do it later, because later on there's going to be not a 30% but a 50% difference between the Canadian and American dollar, and that 20% can make you a tremendous amount of money. So if you're not making money in the markets at this point, and I know you're not making money in your retirement savings plans or in the stock markets at this point. So the fact is that it's very difficult to make money in real estate. stocks or bonds or almost any market at this point. And if you're not making money in these markets and you want to know how, definitely give me a call. I'll sit down with you and explain the different programs that we have that are doing extremely well for our clients and will continue to do so because they're outside of the banking system type of thing. I've also been saying that no matter how bad things are in the United States, they're a lot better than everywhere else around the world, and the Dow is probably going to go to 20,000. As we're taping the show on Friday, we're trading just a couple hundred points below 18,000, and it wouldn't take very much for the Dow to get to 20,000. In fact, it could actually happen by the end of the year. That's how much we believe that market is going to go up. Now, do we believe that the Fed is going to raise interest rates? Listen, they want to do it because, and the fact is, let's examine why they would want to raise interest rates. The fact is, why you raise interest rates or why a country would raise interest rates is to battle inflation. But according to the numbers in the U.S., there is no inflation. So why in the world would they be looking to raise interest rates? If the Fed does raise interest rates here in the United States, all it's going to do is strengthen the dollar even more, and that's why I'm banking on the U.S. dollar breaking par and going up substantially. And I think the catalyst is going to be that they are going to try to raise interest rates and see what happens. It wouldn't shock me that the Dow would back off slightly, but the fact is that the Dow is so manipulated at this particular point that it really doesn't matter. Nobody puts a lot of credence in what's happening in the Dow, but the fact is that the Dow is definitely going to get close to that 20,000 level, and I believe it's going to happen sooner than later. So, again, at this point, I'm sticking with my recommendations, even though I know they're not popular at this point, but they will be. Believe me, when the gold market and the silver market hit the levels that we believe they're going to hit, and the U.S. dollar and Canadian dollar hit the levels that we think it's going to hit, it's going to trigger other moves in the market that we can make a tremendous amount of money on. So, again, let's not view this as a negative. Let's view this as an opportunity to make an awful lot of money. So what I believe is going to happen is the gold market is going to fall, and it's going to fall substantially. It's going to go from the 1180 level it was at on Monday and Tuesday. Right now it's at 1140. Soon it's going to break 1080, which is there is very heavy support at the 1080 level. But once it breaks that point, I believe gold's going to go to 1,000. And at 1,000, we're more than likely going to be a massive buyer of gold at that price. Now, silver is the other situation. Silver, I believe, is going to break down to $11.50 to $12. It's at $15.65 right now. Now, this is very confusing for most, and there's reports in the newsletter this week, which, by the way, is an excellent newsletter that you need to get because it's going to give you the information you need to make some type of financial decision. You can't do it based off what's happening on television and CNBC. They're just cheerleaders for the stock market, and we definitely do not recommend being in stocks, even though I'm saying that the Dow is going to go to 20,000. I don't believe that's a money-making opportunity. All it is a verification as to how the government is manipulating the stock market to make things look better in the United States than what they really are. But again, I have to reiterate that no matter how bad things look in the United States, it's way better than almost every other country. The countries in Europe are on the verge of bankruptcy. And again, other countries around the world are just not doing well. Look at Venezuela. Their currency is nothing. It's worth almost zero. And Russia's in a similar situation. And if Iran didn't have their sanctions lifted against them, they'd be in the same situation. So I believe that gold has got to drop, even in spite of the fact that there are massive shortages in the physical gold and silver market. And the reason that I'm saying the gold and silver are going to drop substantially, look at the Commitment of Traders report. And for those of you that don't understand it or don't know how to read it, call me on Monday or Tuesday, and I'll explain it to you. But there's a massive short position in the futures market in gold and silver, and it's being held by some of the major banks that are shorting this market. It's a totally illegal act. But the fact is that the government turns its head towards this type of thing because, again, the banks are in enough trouble, and this is a way that the banks are making a fortune of money by shorting the gold and silver market. And how dangerous is something like that? You've got one of the biggest shortages in physical gold and silver. It's massive. There's no physical silver around to make these minted coins, but silver is still dropping. And the reason it's dropping is because of the paper position that these banks are holding, which means that they're shorting the market, which means that they're pushing the market lower, even though there are bullish signs for silver. If it wasn't for these short positions and the fact that I felt that the U.S. dollar is going to strengthen, I would be recommending to buy gold and silver right this second. But we are going to have a tremendous opportunity, and again, all we have to do is wait for the markets to come to us. We don't rush it. We don't jump in prematurely. I know a lot of people called me over the last month and said, gold's above 1180. It's breaking out. We should be buying it. We shouldn't be buying it. Nothing has changed in the market at this point yet. We need to see what's going to happen with the dollar, and I'm positive that the U.S. dollar is going to break par soon and then make a big move on the upside, which is going to push gold and silver lower, and the short position in the market is going to push gold and silver lower, and then it's going to come down to a level, and then we're going to buy this market back at the right time. So again, if you're not making money at this particular point and you don't know how to make money in a U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar spread, even though we're not going to leverage this, my clients are making a fortune of money with us right now, and I could say that nobody else in the business is making money for their clients like we are at this time. So, again, Randy, I know it's not the news that everybody wants to hear, but we're not trading gold. All we're looking right now for gold and silver is another buying opportunity. And even though the price of gold and silver at these levels is attractive, the fact is it will be more attractive before the end of the year and going into the first quarter of next year. So I'm perfectly willing to sit back and wait for the markets to come to us, and then we're going to be very aggressive when the time is right to do so.
Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The telephone number 1-800-432-1022. That's 1-800-432-1022. Harold with a very generous offer if you're confused about the financial markets, the stock market, geopolitical situations. What should you be doing with the money you have in the environment that we're in? Connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. One of the hard assets we advocate for in having in your portfolio is a rare colored diamond. And our featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com, a 1.90 carat emerald cut, fancy vivid yellow, internally flawless. You can see the diamond at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The second half of the show, we have some auction results for you. There's some big auctions coming up November 10 and 11. There's going to be a pink diamond sold at auction for around $28 million, a blue diamond for over $50 million. Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. One of the reasons you want to be in hard assets is you want to be in investments that governments cannot print, devalue away. We talked about it off the top of the show, and we have a chart in our free weekly newsletter. NIRP, negative interest rates, and a panic over half of Europe's 2-year bonds traded record negative yields. Italy paid to issue debt. Last week, it was Mario Draghi's promise that he would push European deposit rates even further into NIRP territory from the current negative 0.20 level, something which the market not only believed but already priced in, and then some, pushing German 2-year yields to a record negative 0.35%. So if you were buying 2-year bonds in Europe, you had a negative yield. You were paying them to store money. Now it gets better because they're now talking about, if you can believe it, negative yields on bank accounts. A story in our free weekly newsletter. Banks are seriously discussing negative interest rates for normal people's savings accounts. The concept of earning interest on money in the bank is so deeply ingrained into economic life that few people even know that the opposite can happen too. banks can take a percentage of cash from your account in the form of negative interest rates under certain conditions. Normally, this doesn't happen. Banks want your cash and want you to obviously earn a little interest on it. But because the more deposits they have, the more they can lend to others who pay them even more on their investments. The mere fact that bankers are even discussing negative rates for consumers is scary. In a speech in May entitled, "How Binding is the Zero Lower Bound?" Benoit Courrier of the ECB said banks may either have to tax physical cash or ban it, of course. Courrier was not suggesting that that should happen right now. It would be obviously deeply politically unpopular since most people regard savings and thrift as virtues and not an activity that should be punished. Courrier concluded, savers already perceive a negative amount of nominal interest on their deposits is unfair. Wealth tax and extending it to cash would deepen the perception and affect even more vulnerable members of our society. So don't expect negative savings rates anytime soon. But one thing you might want to look for is disguised negative rates. As costs for institutional lending go up under negative policy rates, banks might pass on some of those costs to consumers in the form of one-off charges or commissions, and everyone knows what those look like on a bank statement. Harold, last week, we were talking about the Wall Street Journal report we had in our free weekly newsletter, and they were talking in there about banks saying, we don't want large sums of cash. If you're a corporation, we don't want it. And a lot of it has to do with negative interest rates, and it also has to do with the new regulations in the banking world in the United States and around the world. But here we have a situation where negative interest rates are being discussed, and possibly somewhere down the line, the consumer will be affected. And Harold, we have about 4 minutes left in our segment here, but that's why we advocate for hard assets like diamonds, gold, and silver. You cannot be debased away by negative interest rates. They cannot print diamonds and gold and silver. Governments, here we have different governments like Sweden and Switzerland, and now the people of Italy being paid to warehouse money because they have bonds that have a negative yield. It's absolutely astounding. But that's why we say look at hard assets, Harold, an alternative investment in very confusing times.
Better believe it, Randy. Again, negative interest rates. Who is going to? Nobody trusts. A lot of people don't trust the banks anyways, but you need them. You need money in the bank to pay your bills and all that. So now you're going to see that you're going to keep your money in the bank, and they're going to charge you to keep money in the bank. It means to me that the banks are changing their total focus and probably don't want independent depositors anymore. And that's where all the money came that they would lend out. So, again, it's a very confusing situation, but also extremely frightening to think that this is the route that the banks are going to go. Now, we saw this happen in Europe first, and now it's going to be coming to North America. And don't forget what we also saw first in Cyprus a few years ago was when the banks stole everybody's money. So don't think that all these banks don't work off of the same model. It's a frightening situation. You never keep more money than the insurance that that you get back if the bank account is going to close or if the bank is going to close. So in the U.S., it's $250,000. You do not keep more than $250,000 in any given bank, because if that bank closes, you're going to lose everything above the insured amount. And I believe in Canada, it's $100,000.
Well, you look at the situation we touched on off the top of the show. Jonathan Johnson giving a speech, chairman of the online retailer Overstock.com, saying that they do not trust Wall Street, they do not trust the banks. They're holding gold and silver outside the banking system because they believe there could be another financial crisis. They don't know when exactly, but they want to pay their staff in, obviously, gold and silver. And they even have, if you can believe it, yes, it's true, food supplies set aside for their staff. It's simply astounding to hear that from a major corporation like Overstock.com, that they are doing that. Obviously, they're very, very concerned about the financial markets. Albert Edwards, who is with Société Générale, came out this week and said, readers will know I have long been an extreme critic of central bank policies. And he's talking about negative interest rates, particularly of the Fed and the Bank of England with their negligent pursuit of ultra-loose money policy in the mid-90s policies that ultimately proved ruinous in the 2008 global financial crisis. I believe the Fed and Bank of England have learned practically nothing from their previous mistakes and were headed down the exact same road to catastrophe as the financial markets creak and groan under the strain of quantitative easing-inspired excess valuations. I would definitely now put the Draghi ECB firmly in the same camp. If you're concerned about what's happening in the financial markets, speak with Harold Siegel. RareColoredDiamonds.com is the website. The telephone number to speak personally and privately with Harold, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, and ask Harold about our featured diamond. It's a 1.90 carat emerald cut, fancy, vivid, yellow, internally flawless. Going to come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us by the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on October 30th, 2015. Our time is 9:09 Mountain. Our radio show runs on 630 CHED in Edmonton, Sunday afternoon at 3. We are on early today from 11:30 until 12:30 prior to the Eskimos pregame show with Dave Campbell, Morley Scott, and the game is at 2, the Eskimos and the Montreal Alouettes. The Eskimos have a bye the last regular season week, and then we're off into the semifinals and the Western Final, and then the Grey Cup. Don't forget Halloween. Hope you had a good Halloween and it was safe. The time changed this morning as well. Connect with Harold at RareColoredDiamonds.com. RareColoredDiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. Harold generously offered up his time in the first half of the show. If you would like to speak with him personally and privately about the world financial markets, how to be making money in these very difficult times, financially and geopolitically, speak with Harold. The conversation is confidential. 1-800-432-1022 or RareColoredDiamonds.com. Our featured diamond of the week from RareColoredDiamonds.com is a 1.90 carat emerald cut, fancy, vivid, yellow, internally flawless. See it at RareColoredDiamonds.com. Coming up in a week or so, we have a rare, fancy, vivid 16 carat pink diamond expected to fetch up to $28 million at Christie's. They're having an auction in Geneva. Now, the next day, Sotheby's is going to be auctioning off a blue diamond that they believe could go for up to $55 million. And after Harold's commentary, we will run down some auction results from last week, and this was Christie's important jewel sale from October 20th, 2015 at Rockefeller Plaza in New York City. Some very good results, but Harold, big diamonds on the auction block coming up in the weeks ahead. We look forward to that. And for those that are looking for an investment diamond, our featured diamond is very, very beautiful.
It certainly is, Randy. It's one of the most beautiful diamonds you'll ever see, and extremely rare, because that particular diamond has tremendous things going for it in every aspect of it. First of all, the size of it for the type of diamond that it is huge. Almost 2 carats is amazing for that type of diamond. Also, look at the cut of the diamond. It's a square emerald cut known as an Asher cut. It is so beautiful, and as beautiful as it is on the website and in the newsletter, it is even more beautiful in person because it is one of the rarest diamonds to cut. So it's very large in size. It's a 1.9. Only one diamond in 15 million is around 2 carats or larger, and very, very few ever compared to this one. Also, the color of it is the best color that you can get as far as a yellow diamond goes. It's vivid, which has got the highest saturation of color. On top of that, the clarity is the best you can get. It's internally flawless. So every single thing about this diamond, the carat weight, the cut being a square emerald cut, Asher cut, being fancy, vivid yellow in color, and internally flawless, makes this diamond basically a one of a kind. Very, very seldom will anybody see a diamond that compares to this one. So it's an amazing investment, and it will do nothing but go up in value. And as Randy spoke about during the show, it's outside of the banking system. It's not a paper asset that could be manipulated like stocks and bonds and cash and everything else. These diamonds cannot be manipulated. There's only one diamond like this, and this is the one that's on the website. So again, it's absolutely magnificent. It's a diamond that I recommend very highly because of all the reasons that I gave you. The size, the cut, being a square emerald cut, is extremely rare. Also, you'll notice that an emerald cut is also called a step cut because it's got different levels to it. It's extremely difficult to cut a diamond like this. Unless it's going to be a near perfect diamond, you would think that the cutter would have cut this diamond as a radiant cut, which is a square cut diamond, which would be much easier to cut. Because it's such a perfect diamond, they actually cut it into a square emerald cut, and it turned out internally flawless. It's just one of the great diamonds that I've ever seen. Now, if you looked at auction results at all, you'll notice how much yellow diamonds are going up in value. This is something that we brought to the table. Most people didn't even know that this existed as an investment. So yellow flawless diamonds, they have to be flawless, and again, when they get to be as rare as this, because of the vivid color and the cut and everything about it, it just takes on a life of its own. So as an investment, you put this diamond away for your future. You don't buy it and sell it in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You're wasting your time. This is the type of investment that you put away for 10, 20 years. In actual fact, if you don't need the money and don't need to sell it, you give it to your kids and grandkids and let it take on a life of its own, because these type of diamonds over time will go up more than any other asset will. So what we've done is that we've also built an auction business, an online live virtual auction. And this is the manner in which we're going to sell our clients' diamonds. But again, at this point here, it's a matter of wanting to hold on to your diamond, an asset that will never decline in value and will only increase in value, and the longer that you hold it, the more and more it goes up in value. I bought a diamond back in 2003, about 12 years ago, that was a magnificent 2-carat, vivid purplish pink argyle diamond, and that diamond has gone from $350,000 to over $3 million. There are many, many cases where diamonds over time have gone and outperformed almost any asset that you could ever imagine. So again, if you look at your financial situation at this point, and it's got to be grim. Let's face it, things are not great in Canada right now. If you're living in Alberta, the oil market has really brought down the economy. The Canadian dollar has dropped against the U.S. dollar by 30%. On top of that, unemployment and home values are dropping. You need to own these type of assets to put away as a safe asset that you're not going to lose money with. You know, the fact is that if you have your money sitting in stocks, you're definitely going to lose your money. The stock markets are not strong right now. The stock markets are a reflection of how the economy is based in that country. Now, the U.S. stock market is fairly strong right now. We have predicted that the U.S. stock market will go to 20,000. It's not that we're bullish on the U.S. economy and we're not bullish on the U.S. stock market. It's just doing better than most other countries at this point, and the U.S. knows how to manipulate their markets better than most. So, again, we have a lot of money invested in diamonds. It's a long-term investment. You don't just buy it and sell it in a couple of years. It's going to defeat the purpose of doing it. But if the good people of Greece, and we all know what happened in Greece, where their economy sunk, and they're more than likely going to be thrown out of the euro, and if they go back on the drachma, their currency will be worth a quarter of what the euro was worth. On top of that, the banks closed for almost a month and nobody could get money out of the bank. But if you owned a diamond, no matter what the value of that diamond is, you could have left Greece, gone to Switzerland or Germany, you could have cashed that diamond in and gotten cash for it. Now you'd be back in the game again. You've got money to feed the family, to pay the bills, to get back in business. That's what a diamond does for you. You know, when we brought this up 10 years ago, or even 7 or 8 years ago, most people never thought that these type of situations that we're confronted with right now would actually happen. Who would ever think that these type of financial situations were really going to happen? But they are now. Countries are going bankrupt. Currencies are devaluing. You own diamonds because of currency devaluation. And the best example I can give you is Canada. I'm Canadian myself. I love Canada. I love everything about it. But the fact is the Canadian dollar is plummeting. Now, you're going to know this when you go to the United States, because if you want to get $1,000 US, it's going to cost you $1,300 Canadian. And it wasn't that long ago that the Canadian and American dollar were even. In fact, the Canadian dollar was worth more than the American dollar. And that's when most of my clients were investing in diamonds. So just think about this. Even though the economy has gone bad in Canada and the currency has dropped, the fact is that Canadians owning diamonds are up 30% just on the currency alone, let alone what the diamond has gone up. That's the beauty of owning diamonds, and that's what I've always tried to profess and have people understand, is that there's always going to be a stronger currency. And the thing about a diamond is it can be sold in that other currency. So that's why we're saying get out of the stock market, get out of these paper assets that are going to wreak havoc on your financial well-being, and get some money into a hard asset like diamonds and soon gold again that are going to make you an awful lot of money. The first and foremost, in the type of economy that we're living in today, where basically countries are going bankrupt, states are going bankrupt within the United States. We know that Puerto Rico is bankrupt, and we know that Illinois is on the verge of bankruptcy. In fact, Illinois, they can't even pay their lottery winners. How crazy is that you win a lottery and you can't even collect your money? But the fact is that the first and foremost thing about owning assets in this type of an economy is capital preservation. You need to hold on to your money. You need to own assets that you're not going to lose and deteriorate your money away like you will in the stock and currency markets. But then, after capital preservation is capital appreciation. And let's face it, there's not too many avenues to make money anymore. Real estate is not doing well. Stocks are not doing well. And those were the two major catalysts that people depended on to make their wealth. And both of those are not available anymore. So now you've got to look at alternative investments. Alternative investments are investments outside of the real estate and stock markets. And those are gold, diamonds, classic cars, art, those type of assets that hold their value. Again, capital preservation at this particular point is the most important thing. Don't lose your money. But then, to be able to make money in a very difficult economy is what we bring to the table, because our clients right now are involved in private investments with me and my company that are making them a lot of money at this point. So if you're not in that situation, if you're not making money and you're stuck in paper assets, in stocks, in Canadian dollars that are not doing well, you need to pick up the phone and give me a call so I can explain to you how to make money in a very, very difficult environment. And I don't care if you have a few $1,000s to invest or a few $1 million to invest. My philosophy has always been is I'm here to help my clients. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. Your money is just as important if you're making $50,000 a year as somebody who's making $5 million a year. And again, my clients have always been, and the philosophy of myself and my company has always been, is that my clients are not the Warren Buffetts of the world. My clients are the hardworking, everyday people that show up every day and need the information in order to make the right decision. And right now, the information you're getting off of the television and that type of thing is not conducive to making money. If you're not making money and you're worried about your future with the oil markets and unemployment and the weak dollar and everything happening in Canada, you need to pick up the phone and give me a call, and I'll sit down and talk to you and explain everything and see how we can get you back to financial health, and I'm positive that we can bring that to the table to you.
Speak with Harold personally, privately. Obviously, the call is free, and the conversation is confidential. 1-800-432-1022. 1-800-432-1022. The website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Our featured diamond of the week is a 1.90 carat emerald cut, fancy vivid yellow, internally flawless, see it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Christie's important jewel sale was held last week, October 20th, 2015, in New York, Rockefeller Plaza. And we have two big auctions coming up in Geneva, Switzerland. One on the 10th of November, one on the 11th. And on the 10th, they're going to be auctioning off a massive, beautiful pink diamond ring. They say it could go for around $28 million. The next day, a blue diamond for possibly up to $55 million. Now, at the Christie's important jewel sale, Lot 302 was a magnificent colored diamond ring, set with a cushion-modified, brilliant-cut, fancy, vivid yellow diamond weighing approximately 7.56 carats. The estimate on it was around $3 million. It went for $3.6. Now, some of the diamonds that did very, very well were the smaller diamonds. And if you take a look at Lot 264, and we can send these auction results out to you, Harold will be happy to do that. All you need to do is connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com or 1-800-432-1022. We had a colored diamond and diamond ring by Tiffany & Company, set with a modified cushion-cut yellow diamond weighing approximately 3.24 carats. Now, the estimate on it, $20,000. It went for $37,500. Lot 266, a pair of colored diamond and diamond legacy ear pendants by Tiffany & Company, each suspended a square-cut yellow diamond weighing approximately 3.10 and 3.08 carats to line of the square-cut diamonds. Now, the estimate on it, $30,000. It went for $80,000. Lot 94, a colored diamond and diamond ring by Tiffany & Company with, and this is an oval-cut yellow diamond weighing approximately 3.08 carats. The estimate on it, $40,000. It went for $81,000. And one more, and remember, these are some of the lower-priced, smaller diamonds. Lot 23, colored diamond ring, and this was a brilliant-cut deep brown yellow diamond weighing approximately 15.08 carats. The estimate on it, $120,000, went for $137,000. But Harold, as we've said before, some of those smaller, lower-priced diamonds, the price increases off the estimates were astronomical, which once again showed to us that colored diamonds in the right place, obviously the right time for us as investors.
You better believe it. And again, it's not only these multi-million-dollar diamonds. The fact is that there are diamonds that are in the $10, $20, $50, $100,000 range that are absolutely amazing diamonds. Probably the best investment opportunity today is pink diamonds from the Argyle mine. The Argyle mine produces 95% of all the pink diamonds in the world, and that's going to close before 2020. So we have an amazing opportunity to make a fortune in the pink diamond market. There will be some pink diamonds that are vivid in color that will actually go up 1,000%. Other diamonds could go up 200, 300, 500% very, very easily. So, again, we're just ecstatic about what's happening in the diamond market. And there's never been a more important time for this to happen than right now because, again, most people don't have many options when it comes to how am I going to continue to make money and have my money work for me when, again, you can't make money in stocks or real estate or bonds or anything like that at this point, and certainly not by keeping your money in the bank. Number one, you're not going to make any money because the interest rates are so low, and soon the interest rates are going to go negative. So, again, even a $20,000 diamond today in 10, 15, 20 years from now could be worth 5 times what you paid for it, and there's no other investments available today that will do for you what the diamond market is doing at this point.
Our featured diamond of the week is a 1.90 carat emerald cut, fancy, vivid, yellow, internally flawless. If you would like to see it, go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week, or, even better, get our free weekly newsletter, the companion to our radio show. We send it out via email free of charge every week, and I can tell you, you can go through it in about 5 to 10 minutes, be completely up to date on what happened during the week, or spend hours if you want. You'll read the same material that Harold and I are reading, and that includes the auction results. Connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022 or rarecoloreddiamonds.com. One of the other lots that was an interesting lot of note, 267, an important colored diamond line bracelet by Tiffany & Company. And it had diamonds weighing from 214 to 2 carats. And the estimate on it, $200,000. It went for $425,000. Now, Harold, here coming up in the next few weeks, and we still, by the way, and I've been very diligent on this, Googling every day, the Argyle tender. The Argyle tender ended October 21st, and we're waiting for word on the results of the Argyle tender. And as we've explained the Argyle tender before, it's from the Argyle mine. As Harold was saying, it's winding down in the next 5 years. They do a tender of around 50 diamonds a year for the entire world. That tender was taken around the world. Different people obviously had an opportunity to see the diamonds, bid on the diamonds. That process is now done. The winners will be announced, and we should get an idea of how it went in the next few days, I'm suspecting, because it ended on October 21st, and we are keeping an eye on it. But coming up here, we have the auctions. And Harold, we have that big pink diamond that's coming for auction. They're saying around $28 million. The blue diamond up around $55 million. In the weeks ahead, we will let people know how those auctions went. But with about 3 minutes left, it is a very exciting time for diamonds when you see those museum and even, they're almost like paintings. They're nature's art. They're art, but from nature on the auction block.
And when you hold one of these or see one of them in person, you're just not going to believe what you're seeing. For example, the featured diamond. It's almost 2 carats. It's the best color yellow you can get, vivid. It's got the highest saturation. It's the best cut you can get. It's amazing that it's an Asher cut that size, and it's internally flawless. Again, just an amazing investment diamond. Between the yellow flawlesses, the Argyle pinks, the greens and the oranges and the blues, the diamond market is on fire. And again, the evidence is right there in front of you. If you want to see the auction results and how these diamonds are selling at auction, just get the free newsletter. We don't charge it for the radio show or newsletters or any information or any calls you would make to me. All we want is that our Canadian clients get through these difficult times and do extremely well. That's the reason that Randy and I show up every day.
5 compelling reasons to invest in diamonds: privacy, portability, estate planning. You can pass it on down from generation to generation, obviously gaining value, and you have the price stability and long-term growth. Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, or call 1-800-432-1022. Remember, Rare Colored Diamonds, they're obviously investments that have millions of years in the making. Rare Colored Diamonds are nature's art, private, portable, stable wealth. And speak with Harold Siegel about our featured diamond, investing in that featured diamond. Harold, we have approximately 30 seconds left. Thank you for your knowledge and another great show.
Well, it's my pleasure, Randy, and I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Our featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com, a 1.90 carat emerald cut, fancy, vivid, yellow, internally flawless. See it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Speak with Harold about the current economic and geopolitical times we're in. How can you make money during these times? Connect with him, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, or 1-800-432-1022. Good luck to our Edmonton Eskimos. The Edmonton Eskimos playing the Montreal Alouettes. The pregame show is on the way next with Dave Campbell and Morley Scott. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.